Mansfield today on a Friday, and we're going to take a different tack here today. We thought we'd look at futures strategy. Look, it's been. I wish we could do this more often and find out what Cyril's going to hit us with on a Sunday night, like he did this last Sunday. That's when you need a future strategist who knows what he's talking about, and a future strategist who certainly does know what he's talking about. He's a multi-published and award-winning author. He's a lecturer at Duke Corporate Education. He's an associate partner at the Copenhagen Institute of Business Studies. And he is an associate, I beg your pardon, and he's received global recognition as Africa's first Singularity University faculty member. I'm talking about John Sanai, who joins us now via Zoom in the Mansfield Today studio. John, thank you for taking time out to join us. Nice to have you with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me. Great to be here with you.
John, listen, let's look at this. One of the big topics now, especially with the levels of unemployment amongst the youth, is the youth itself. And I believe that one of your pets right now is looking at the almost an inertia that is set in amongst the youth and how to break that inertia. Just give us a bit of background on this.
Yeah, sure. I think the youth are obviously suffering the most because they haven't experienced any past successes. Adults are also having problems like this, as well as corporations and organizations, but they have something to fall back on, whereas the youth really don't. And also, the truth is that if the youth practice what the older generations did, it wouldn't guarantee them any success in any way. And that's the whole point of this process is, what does success look like in the future? And how do you actually go about preparing for it as somebody who's in their youth years at the moment? And we all know that the concept of education is being questioned. We don't really trust it anymore because it can't give us that absolute outcome of a guaranteed job or a business or something like that. So what I've been driving over the last sort of few weeks around Youth Month, which was June, was what do we need to do as a society and as a government to be able to give them the tools and the skill sets to prepare for the future? And there's actually three things that I think are most important. One is to get away from the idea of employer-employee. This concept of looking for a job and being sort of trained to go into a job, I think is something that we should stop doing, because no low-level diploma or even a high-level degree can guarantee you of any job. So that's the first thing. We need to get that out the way. The second thing we need to do is we need to build entrepreneurial mindsets based on internet as the tool set. We all have an opportunity to access millions and millions of people around the world, utilizing our own skill sets, our own passion, our own excitement, our own curiosity to be able to build a career, a business, to sell a product or a service. And the third thing we need to be doing is we need to highlight people that have made it out of the structures of poverty and have broken free from the old sort of idea of youth don't have a future, or it's really tough looking for a job, or that sort of thing. So we need to start looking at these heroes to understand that there is a possibility of breaking free. We need to be training entrepreneurs linked into the internet. And the third thing is we need to get away from this idea that we need to train people for jobs. I just don't think there's enough jobs. I don't think low-level training can guarantee you of anything, especially with automation just around the corner and really picking up momentum.
I'd like to introduce our business analyst who does our Monday shows here on Mansfield Today, Chris Gibbons, at this stage, because I know that he has some questions that he would like to pose to you, John. So, Chris, over to you.
Thank you, Jeremy, and John, hello to you. One of the youth employment schemes, YES, run by Tashmir Ismail Saville, has been very, very successful. I think 40,000 people have been employed as interns by Yes. One of the things that they have got right is the incentivization of business to take on interns for a 12-month period. If you take a certain number, your BEE status goes up, which is obviously a great benefit to the company concerned, but doesn't cost them hard cash, apart from the stipend for the interns. Is that a viable model? Could that be extended, do you think?
I think right now, nobody can guarantee us of any working model. And I think we should just try and experiment as much as we can to try and see what suits the personal youth themselves, as well as a constantly changing market. So I'm all for all new programs, trying new things out. But ultimately, as somebody that's always looking at the future, understanding the future of work, understanding the future of education, it becomes quite clear to me that preparing people for all jobs and all organizations will slowly but surely become more and more irrelevant. And we have to realize that we're actually moving into something called the passion economy or the creator economy. And this is becoming a huge economy around the world worth billions and billions of dollars, which is just people in their individual capacity able to package and productize their services and sell them to people around the world. It's almost like going back to pre-industrial times where every town and village had its own butcher, baker, and candlestick maker, and you could sell to your village and your little town. Today, we're going back down to that structure, except your village is now borderless. You're able to sell to anybody and everywhere and any time. And that's the thing we need to be really focusing in our youth on, is jumping over the idea of jobs and the idea of getting into a corporation, but really becoming self-empowered.
And staying with that subject, John, one of the benefits accruing to the interns on the YES program is a free smartphone and a data package. Technology, vitally important in the modern world, especially to youngsters. So if we're going to get youth employment right, we have to use technology, surely.
Yes, I mean, that's also a big driving point, is that the two things that all these youth, in fact, everybody needs, is access to fast internet and having an ability to have a smartphone. And we know that both of these are happening anyway. We just want them to happen quicker. You know, just SpaceX, which is just one of 30, 40 companies right now that are putting balloons, satellites, rockets, you name it, into the orbit to give us all free, fast Wi-Fi. And then we're also seeing a proliferation of smartphones costing as little as $10 now. And we know with technology, things become cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So in the long run, I'm very optimistic with us having access to the internet with these tool sets. I'm sure we'll have a breakthrough of sorts. We just have to wait for that sort of tipping point so that people move away from this concept of, I need to find a job, to I'm self-empowered, I have the tool sets around me, and I can start selling. This is happening all around the world, and I think it's a really exciting time for us to change tactics or experiment in a new way as a country to empower the youth in a different way.
How do you foster creativity in a society where the vast majority of the youth are unemployed and have this inertia?
You know, it's a very tough place, and I don't profess to have all the answers, but what I do know is, in order for us to really be driven by our passion, be driven by our creativity, we need to be exposed to more and more different types of careers and businesses and entrepreneurs. And so as parents or as youth, if anybody's listening to this in that realm, is how do you go and expose yourself to more businesses, watch more YouTube videos, watch more things that give you exposure to many different types of thinking, careers, and products and services. Eventually, what starts to happen is you start really picking out the things that make you most excited, and you start bringing those into a sort of coherent product or service and able to apply those. Now, it was Malcolm Gladwell that made the 10,000 hour rule really famous. But we realize that in this new dynamic, constantly changing world, in fact, the 10,000 hours needs to be replaced with a range of different skills, and bringing that unique combination of range of skills to play, and then making that your business. In fact, there was a book called Range, which came out a few years ago, where Malcolm Gladwell wrote on the cover of the book, "I love to have my theories disproven and learn new things." And it shows us that we all need a much broader range of skill sets to be able to be successful in a multi-dynamic changing world that we're moving into.
Okay, but then surely that requires collaboration between business, between government, the education system, and the youth. Surely there needs to be I don't know, I'm trying to find something, there is nothing similar, but a sort of business unity South Africa type conglomeration that comes together to try and, so we're all pulling in the same direction.
Exactly. And I think that's the key here, is that I think that many people are pulling in the old direction because there's no other concepts. You know, it's like, let's train them, let's just get them to have a diploma and let's get them into a business and let them just be in that business until they figure it out. But the truth is, people inside those corporates are worried about their own jobs. You know, all corporates right now are in a type of restructuring. And so what are we doing? We're getting people to be low-level educated, being put into a junior position into an organization that the structure of that organization itself is being questioned. The future of that industry or sector is not guaranteed. So what are we doing? We're almost just like ticking boxes. So all I'm trying to get us to do is, can we ask a new question? And can we rally around what the future looks like rather than preparing for what past successes look like? And we need to get away from that concept. I was on a Radio Metro a year ago, and we had some youth phoning in very perturbed because they were told that if they put a business plan together and they go and queue at NEF or IDC, they could get some funding, or they could go wait and look for a job. And all they did was they put a business plan together, got some ARB CV, and then waited in queues for the rest of the few weeks or months, ran out of money, became depressed. And it's like almost like we're doing the wrong thing in getting them to prepare for an old world that does not guarantee anything. For me, it's about responsibility, initiative, giving them the tool sets and letting them play in the world of the internet, in a space of entrepreneurship.
We've dropped Chris off the Zoom, but I see he's just sent me an email. Fascinating listening to your answers. Do I see another book? Is his question.
Yes, I'm writing a book right now called Transformotion. And it's a play on words of transformation, but transformation for me is moving at hyper pace towards uncertainty. And it's broken down into 3 sections. The book has got the sad, the strange, and the adventure. And where we are right now, society is sad and strange. It's sad to let go of an old world that we once knew, even though it wasn't that great, it was familiar. And I break down all the sadness that we are going through and how it's important for us to adopt and not try and drink sadness away or try and scoop it out there, but actually to feel the sorrow. And it's a time of sorrow, you know, it really is. It's a sad time. And then the strange, because nothing really makes sense when a piece of digital art gets sold for $67 million. It's strange. It's when kids are becoming multimillionaires with crypto. It's strange. It's the fact that, you know, the world political system is breaking down. That's strange. And so we're in this sad and strange place, and we need to become okay with it in a certain way. In fact, embrace it in a certain way before we can actually start the adventure that's going to be coming over the next few years. We have to see a breakdown of the existing structures in order to have birthed something new. And that's where we are right now. And I think it's important for us just to be clear of the context of where we are and the pattern of change that we are in.
Look forward to that when it comes out. Is there any sort of timeline on this, or don't you want to be pressured on it?
No. September will be out in time for spring.
Okay, good one. We look forward to that. John Sanai, future strategist, thank you very much for taking time out to chat about this subject with us on Mansfield.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Bye-bye. And bye-bye to you as well. Thank you for joining us. If you do like the show, then press the like button. And if you like it that much, then please subscribe to us by hitting the subscribe button. Until I sit down with Sam and chat with her with our usual Saturday chat, where we just talk the biggest load of rubbish under the earth. Have a wonderful Friday. Cheers.